Hello everyone. What we're making today is white chocolate peppermint cookies. I figured they would be perfect with Christmas time coming. So what we're gonna need is 2 room temperature eggs. We're gonna need light brown sugar, some all-purpose flour, some granulated sugar, pure vanilla extract, peppermint extract. We have some salt back there. I have 2 boxes of candy canes that we're going to crush. Now normally I get the tiny candy canes, but they were out of them. We are gonna need some cornstarch, some baking powder, baking soda, and 2 sticks of butter. We want the butter to be at room temperature as well. Then we're gonna need some white baking chips. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start off with getting the measurements ready, and then I'll be back to show you what we do next. Okay, so for our dry ingredients, I have 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons of flour. I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I do have my bowl here. I'm going to be sifting my dry ingredients. I have 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 cup of packed brown sugar. I have my egg. I have 1/2 teaspoon of the peppermint extract, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, about 3/4 cup of the candy canes. While the dough is chilling, I'm going to go ahead and crush up a few more, because once we roll the dough into balls, we're going to dip it into some additional crushed candy canes. And then over here I have 1 heaping cup of the white baking chips. And then in this bowl here I have my 2 sticks of butter. So go ahead and just start sifting your dry ingredients here into this bowl, and then I'll be back to show you what we do next. Okay, I sifted my dry ingredients, and I did still give it a whisk just to make sure everything was mixed around. And then in this bowl here, we have our butter. You're gonna go ahead and put in your white sugar as well as your packed brown sugar. And we're going to mix this together until it's creamy and fluffy. You can use a stand mixer if you'd like. I'm just using a hand mixer. Once we get this cream together, I will be back to show you what we do next. Okay, this is what we're looking like. So now what you're going to do is go ahead and add your egg, your vanilla extract, and your peppermint extract, and we're going to go ahead and give it a mix. Okay, so now we're going to add our dry ingredients into our wet. You want to add it a little bit at a time. You want to be able to still see a little bit of flour, but once I get to that point, I'll show you what it looks like. And the reason we do that is because we have to fold in the crushed candy canes and the white chocolate chips. Okay, so this is what we're looking like, and you see how we can still see the flour? That is perfectly fine. So go ahead and add your crushed up candy canes as well as your white chocolate chips. And we're just gonna fold that in, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what our dough looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and put a piece of plastic wrap over this, and we're going to chill it for at least an hour before we start baking it. Once we come back, we're gonna make sure our oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and then we'll start getting them into balls. But in the meantime, into the fridge it goes to chill for at least an hour. Okay, our dough has chilled for an hour. I broke up the rest of the candy cane. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and I have my cookie sheet here lined with a piece of parchment paper. I'm just gonna use my scoop here. I'm gonna scoop out the dough, roll it into a ball. We're gonna dip just the top of it into the candy canes and then place it onto our baking sheet. Once I get a couple rolled, I'll show you what they look like. And this is what we're looking like. We just dip the top there into the candy canes. If you wanted to put more on than what I'm doing, you definitely can. Once we get this cookie sheet filled up, we're gonna put it in the oven for 7 to 9 minutes. Once we pull it out of the oven, we're gonna leave them sit on the cookie sheet just for a couple minutes before we move them over to a cooling rack. Okay, our cookies are looking good. I baked them for 8 minutes. They will continue to set up as they sit on the pan here. You wanna leave them sit on the baking sheet for maybe three to 5 minutes or so, just to let them set up a little bit more. Then you can go ahead and move them to a cooling rack. I'm going to continue to bake the cookies, and then we'll be back once they're finished and we'll give them a taste. Okay, our white chocolate peppermint cookies are done. Let's give them a try. delicious, delicious. They're so good. They're so good. They're chewy on the inside and a light crisp on the outside around the edges. You get little bits of the candy cane, so a little bit of an additional crunch. So good. Perfect for this time of year. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you make these, please let me know how you like them. And I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.